There is really something to be said about the average time that it takes to develop a video game these days. What was once something that could just be developed in a matter of weeks or maybe months has now turned into multiple years, sometimes even over a decade. You could even put it in numbers, in statistics, like this chart, for example, shows the average time that it takes to develop a game. Yeah, you can see that, it used to take like in 1982, it would take an average of 179 days to develop a game, whereas now in 2024, it's an average of 1,521 days, which I think is like 5 years. It's crazy. Now, you see, Nintendo, they recently had an investors call, and they were kind of asked about development time, and they did give kind of a straightforward answer that kind of gives us a glimpse into maybe what to expect from them going forward. I mean, I probably shouldn't say straightforward. You're never going to get an exact straightforward answer from these investors calls, but, this is something that I suppose is not extremely surprising. We hear stuff about like AI assisting in development going forward for a lot of different big video game companies. I could see Nintendo utilizing this to some extent. Now, they don't really reference AI here, but let me stop yapping here and show you what I'm actually talking about. So one of the questions said, I am concerned that the improved performance of the Switch 2 will lead to higher game development costs, which in turn could result in higher software prices and ultimately a decrease in the gaming population. What measures are you considering to address all of this? And then this is coming from the president of Nintendo himself, Shuntaro Furukawa. So he says recent game software development has become larger in scale and longer in duration, resulting in higher development costs. And the game business has always been a high-risk business, and we recognize that rising development costs are increasing that risk. Our dev teams are devising various ways to maintain our traditional approach to creating games amidst the increasing scale and length of development. We believe it is important to make the necessary investments for more efficient development. That's kind of where I think they're probably talking about AI. I'll leave that up to you to decide though, but then the last paragraph here, they say, we also believe it is possible to develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty. We see this as one potential solution to the concern about rising development costs and software prices, and we will explore it from various angles within the company. So yeah, essentially Nintendo, they are exploring ways in which to shorten the development time, thus also decreasing the development cost overall. That's good for Nintendo, but obviously what stuck out to me and what I'm obviously talking about here is the shorter development times. That is something that gamers are really going to notice a lot more probably than the decrease in costs. I mean, for Nintendo, Mario Kart World, for example, the one that just came out last month, that took, I am seeing, 8 years to develop. So that's even longer than the average 2024 game, which, as I said, I think takes about 5 years to develop according to that chart. So obviously, as we get to these AAA, these bigger titles, it's going to take even longer. Maybe we're looking at 8 years, 9 years, or like 12 years if we're talking about GTA 6. Probably more than that, actually. But the point is, this is good if you are a Nintendo fan who doesn't want to wait 7 years for every Zelda game or 9 years for every Mario Kart game. I would obviously imagine that other game companies are also following suit with this. Again, maybe the not so good news is AI. I think the obvious elephant in the room here is AI. I think that is going to be the solution here in decreasing the development costs and time. People have very strong opinions of that one way or the other. Me personally, I think it all comes down to how they use the AI. You could use it for more mundane tasks that take a lot of time. Substitute that kind of stuff for AI, not the actual creative process. Like, don't use, AI to write your script of your next Zelda game. And I don't think they will do anything like that. I think they're probably going to focus on just, like I said, decreasing these development costs and thus decreasing development times.